Hey everybody, welcome to another anticipated releases for the month of October. I know we usually try to make these on the first of the month, but time got away from me. I had a little bit of a scratchy throat yesterday, so I kind of pushed it off by a day. But if you hear my voice sound a little bit bad, it was a lot better than yesterday. So anyway, let's get right into it. First ones I want to talk about are re-releases for games, but they're ones I feel like are worth talking about because these are some of my favorite RPGs that I've ever played in my entire life, and I do not say that lightly. The first one I want to talk about is Nier Automata End of Yorha Edition. This is the re-release coming out for the Nintendo Switch. If you haven't had the chance to play the game, play it. It's fantastic. The way that they actually tell the story and how good the gameplay is drives you to play it to completion. It's a game that features multiple endings, ending E being the very final one, and if you reach ending E and if you don't cry, I will be very concerned that you lost every sense of emotion, because goddamn it is that good. So if you haven't had the chance to play it yet, it's re-releasing for Switch, play it. It's a fantastic game. Play as multiple characters as well, so even at the times where they kind of redo some of the story or the same plot areas, you still get to see it through different gameplay, whether you play as 2B or 9S. So, again, if you haven't had the chance to play it yet, now you really don't have any excuse. It's on a lot of platforms. I think it was on Xbox Game Pass too, I think Matt was saying. So, very fun game. The other game I want to talk about that is a release, also one of my favorite RPGs ever, is Persona 5 Royale. This game, if you haven't played any of the Persona games, it's an easy way to jump into it, gameplay being very accessible. This re-releases for Switch, Xbox, and PC. Originally, the only game that was not on PlayStation platforms was Persona 4 Golden on Steam. So if you were looking for an excuse, or if you have any of those platforms and you haven't played Persona 5 yet, it is one of the best RPGs ever. It is it is lengthier than other RPGs, but trust me, it is worth it. The things that are different about Persona 5 Royal versus Persona 5 is it offers a couple new confidants, it offers a brand new character to even play as. The gameplay doesn't change too much. I mean, they have different like facial animations, a lot of it is very similar. You could get an extra dungeon based if you finish up like the new confidants and you max those out, you actually get a new dungeon. It's very similar to Persona 4 Golden, how it offers an expansion on the story a little bit, where it doesn't tweak the original too much. So Persona 4 Golden added Marie and Marie's dungeon, which honestly was very frustrating from a gameplay perspective, but it was still a very fun experience to have, because the original game, while it's still already fun, it just offers you a little bit more of it. So if you haven't had the chance to play a Persona 5 yet, this is a great way to do so. Now, going into the new releases, let's talk about Overwatch 2. Overwatch 2 has been kind of one step forward, one step back when it comes down to its marketing, because it seems like with anything that's kind of positive that gets talked about, there's always a negative that comes along with it. So there's always thorns with the roses, if you want to say it like that. For example, one of them is that Overwatch 1 servers are going to be shutting down 24 hours before, and I don't know if that means that they're going to be completely offline, but you can't play Overwatch in that meantime, and then Overwatch 2 servers are going to be started up. It's going to be pissing off a lot of players, because let's face it, Overwatch is a live service game. Kind of is supposed to, I don't want to say kind of, but if a server goes down, you can't play the game. So you're kind of linked to whatever they have on their end to allow you to actually play the game. So for those 24 hours, if you're a big Overwatch fan, you can't play the game and you just got to watch Overwatch 2. It is still just a day, so I understand that, but the fact that they might just block out Overwatch 1 completely and force people to move to Overwatch 2 is kind of strong-arming the older players to play the game, the newer version of the game. So it's one of those situations where if it's like, I don't like the monetization practice of Overwatch 2 and I don't want to play Overwatch 2, you can't still really play Overwatch 1 in that situation. Kind of shitty, but a lot of free-to-play games are going that route. That route being battle passes, a lot of more expensive skin lines, but to play the game originally is free. So that kind of way to get you in the door is what they're doing, and getting you to spend money is their secondary goal after that. We're just like, let's get them in the door by the fact that this game is free, then let's try to get them to actually spend the money. So it's kind of backwards of you spend the money because the game looks cool, and then you don't have to spend much anymore. Game companies really know what, and I have to thank my buddy Scott for this, because he actually summed up my 5-minute explanation to my friend Adam. My friend Adam had a question like, do you think games aren't as fun anymore? And I went on this lengthy explanation about like how they want to try to maximize the money that they get out of you, how they've known what's fun for a while, And my friend Scott just summarized it saying, yeah, I think game devs know what's fun in games now. They're just better at monetizing it. And that's where this is going. Overwatch 2 doesn't have a new kind of monetization route, really. It follows the same route as Apex, as Fortnite, as Warzone. All of these bigger games that are made by bigger developers like your Activision. I mean, this one is Activision. But Activision, was it Respawn? I think Respawn was the one that did Apex Legends. Epic. They all are following this monetization practices now. So I can't really say anything. It's kind of here to stay. So just be prepared that it's there. That's all I can really say about it. Another thing that this game is getting a lot of flack on is the fact that they're locking characters you previously unlocked in Overwatch to the Battle Pass. And in the same way, the new character Kiriko is going to be part of the Battle Pass as well. And you have to play for a not insignificant amount of time until you actually unlock Kiriko. So this has also gotten people angry, but let's face it, gamers are angry 24/7. So I don't know. This is a game that I'm probably going to be skipping out on, but it is a very noteworthy release that is worth talking about. But then again, I never played the original Overwatch, so this game never really appealed to me in the first place. I don't know. It's tough because I know people were, especially people in our channel, were very die-hard when it came down to Overwatch. Pat and Jake being great examples in our early channel about how much they would play Overwatch. I don't want to say religiously, but goddamn, it was pretty close. But yes, that's all I really want to say about it. It's coming out. It's going to be a free-to-play game, so take what you will out of that. So the next one I want to talk about is going to be a game really that Travis was really excited about when we talked about it last, and that was Triangle Strategy. First thing I want to talk about is the names. The name is a good and bad thing if you take my opinion of it. The name being Triangle Strategy is a way that you can't mess up what kind of game it is. It is a strategy game that looks like a triangle when you're looking at the camera view. It's like an axiometric. I keep wanting to saying axiometric. I've taken this. This is like my third take of recording this audio, and I keep wanting to say axiometric, isometric. That kind of view where it's like over the top at a kind of more of an angle, like a 30-degree angle kind of thing. I don't know how to say it, but you can't mess up what kind of game it is. In the same vein as Octopath Traveler. Is it the most creative name? No, but can you mess up what kind of game it is? It's a game where you play as 8 traveling characters. So it's a way that you know exactly what you're buying based on the title of the game alone, but it's not a very creative title. Either way, the game's art style is what I really want to mention here. It's going for that 2.5D or that kind of HD 2D graphical art style, and it looks gorgeous. One of the things that blew me away with Octopath Traveler when I played it was the lighting. So the fact that this game is going along that art style is already a great direction, if you ask me. This gameplay is going to be very similar to the likes of Final Fantasy Tactics. So if you played games like Fire Emblem on the Switch and you're looking for games like Fire Emblem, this one is similar. It's not going to be the same because Fire Emblem focuses on a couple of very different things. It seems like this one is more story focused, but usually these games have a heavy focus on the characters. So if you're looking for another tactics-like game like Final Fantasy Tactics, Triangle Strategy is going to be a good one to check out. Again, art style looks amazing. Camera work is already stellar. So again, if you haven't played it yet, well, not if you haven't played it yet. If you're looking for another tactics strategy-like game, this is going to be an easy one to recommend. Next one I want to talk about is for our boy Matt. Him being overseas makes sure that he can't really talk about this one, but this is going to be a brief mention. Is this going to be a Plague Tale Requiem? Plague Tale was one that I think Matt and Mike both really got into, and I believe that's really for the story side of it, for sure. I know I've talked to Mike a lot about it, but in the past, where story is probably one of the most important things, especially for him in games. I would tend to agree for sure, and this is a game story that doesn't... It's a game story that it seems like a lot of game devs try to avoid, or at least if there's games that exist that tell stories like this. I haven't played many of them, especially because a lot of game stories are focused more on fantasy settings, something more like, again, Nier Automata, futuristic androids with swords fighting each other. Talking about Horizon Zero Dawn, where it's like a mixture of a post-apocalyptic world where you're fighting like robot dinosaur kind of things. It's like, this one seems to go back in time, and I'm sure there's definitely more fantasy-esque elements. I mean, let's face it, it's a game. but it goes back, it seems like more middle-aged kind of time for its setting, and tells a story of survival in that time period. So one of the big things about A Plague Tale was it's more along the lines, I would say, like Last of Us, where the gameplay wasn't really focused on being like too inventive, and again, you weren't going to be one person that's going to be mowing down armies of people. Let's face it, you're struggling in a world that's torn apart by supernatural forces. You're more along the lines of trying to survive. So you're not really going to have all of the you're not going to have like a futuristic spear that can hack machines and stuff like that. Again, a lot of this is more survival-based gameplay. But if you are looking for a game that's like that, this is the one that's for you for sure. So I at least wanted to mention it for Matt and Mike in case he's also excited for it as well. But it does look interesting. Definitely more along the lines of like a Last of Us and like Horizon Zero Dawn. So next one I want to mention is Bayonetta 3. Bayonetta 3 is very interesting from the fact of it's finally being released. A lot of people would make jokes about the fact that Bayonetta 3 was a meme game, where it's always, we've gotten news about this once in like 2017 and we're never going to hear about it again. It's finally coming out, and I'm kind of excited for it. I haven't really played or really gotten into the other Bayonetta games, but it was really cool the fact that it's not following that time or that those games directly, especially because this one seems to be more of a sci-fi aesthetic, which is very different before. I know Travis was playing some of the original Bayonetta games, and he was saying how the gameplay was really cool, but it is very over the top when it comes down to the kind of gameplay. Let's face it, you're a demon witch that is throwing out a bunch of demon appendages when you're taking down hordes of enemies. So it's not going to be that same kind of like one-on-one RPG kind of style of gameplay that it seems like I've been mentioning a lot in the past, or more like survival. This one is supposed to be a game where you do feel kind of overpowered to some degree. I mean, let's face it, you're slaying demons and angels and people like that. There's not a lot of that biblical imagery that was with Bayo 1 and 2. It seems like they're moving away from that, but it is kind of cool that they're taking it in a different direction, but a lot of the gameplay seems to be staying the same. So Platinum Games is the game company that made this game, and it is kind of interesting them taking this route, because maybe they took a side project, or maybe there was a different team on it entirely that was working on Astral Chain. But it does seem what am I trying to say here? It does seem like if they were working on trying to figure out how to develop games for Switch, they seem to get some of the details ironed out, especially with porting Nier to Switch, and the fact that Bayo 3 is coming out. So either way, Bayonetta 3 finally coming out. Hopefully I don't jinx it, but it's here. Hopefully it's going to be good. The last game I want to mention is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. This one is going to be a little bit weird for me to talk about, because I'm going to be talking about a lot of Warzone, because that's actually the point that I kind of care about when it comes down to this game release. This one is being worked on by Infinity Ward, which was the same one that did the original Modern Warfare. I believe Treyarch took over. Treyarch did take over for Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. I don't remember who was doing Vanguard, but Infinity Ward is back and working on Cold War 2. Or Cold War 2, Modern Warfare 2. It's very cool in terms of the way that they're kind of switching up some of the gameplay elements. I mean, they have different ways for armor satchels. Obviously, they're going to give new weapons. There's going to be a new map coming along with it. Verdansk was the original Warzone map, and it was very urban in its setting. Vanguard, or when Treyarch took over with Black Ops Cold War, they opened up some areas of the map that was previously like just there, so it wasn't anything too crazy. But then when Vanguard, when Vanguard, or was Vanguard the anti-cheat? No, I think Vanguard was the other one. I can't remember what the anti-cheat was called. Ricochet was the anti-cheat. And the big issue, I know I'm a little scattered on this one. Ricochet was the big anti-cheat, because a lot of people would cheat in Warzone, so they were begging for an anti-cheat, and Ricochet was the anti-cheat. But when Vanguard became a game, they offered Verdansk, and a lot of people didn't like Verdansk when it came down to the map, because I think they really liked that urban setting, and Verdansk was kind of the opposite of an urban setting. A lot of greenery area, a lot of not open fields, but a lot more fields in the area, not a lot of buildings kind of thing. So there are pros and cons, like less cheaters, but at the same time, less cheaters, but at the same time, a map that people didn't like as much, even after they were begging for it. So it was in a weird place where it's like people liked the fact that they didn't have to deal with cheating, but they also didn't like the fact that there was, let's face it, there was a whole myriad of other things there. Like the weapons were busted. I mean, there was a lot of issues. I played like the new map. I mean, some of my most favorite memories in the original Warzone was just messing around in Verdansk with Matt and Scott and people like that. I loved the original Warzone. I mean, again, it was toxic, it was Call of Duty, but we had a lot of fun digging around in like the helicopters, the ATVs, and all the other stuff that was going on in there. Didn't like it as much with I played the Vanguard map every once in a while, not very often. I uninstalled Warzone probably like day 2 after that, so yeah, I just didn't enjoy it. But I'm liking the way that Modern Warfare 2 is going with the Warzone 2 map. I know that shouldn't be the whole focus of me talking about this game, but I don't know. It's the part that I'm actually excited for. But yeah, so the couple of things that I know that people are really asking for with Modern Warfare 2 is issues with skill-based matchmaking. Warzone and like Modern Warfare had an issue with where no matter what, you would always run into the situation with if you won a game, you get paired into a lobby that you were just way too good for you, and then you'd get paired with people who were way below you, and it's just like this kind of skill-based matchmaking has never seemed to work out too well. So it seems like one of the things that people are asking for is to get rid of this kind of skill-based matchmaking for certain areas, maybe have more of like a quick play and ranked kind of system. But also the whole disbanding lobbies. It seems to be, and again, this is just from me reading up on it, it seems to be that a lot of people like the fact that you could stay in a lobby as long as you wanted to. But it seems like that they haven't had that for a while now. So that's another one of the things that people seem to be wanting, like that you and your friends can play, especially with people who you just played with and you're like, oh, these people are all right, I'll play with them for a couple more matches, until they actually choose to leave the lobby. So that seems to be some of the ways that I think people are asking for this game. And it does seem like the devs are a little more active and more talkative with this game. So it's interesting. I mean, the Call of Duty Modern Warfare, I know, is where a lot of people think that the game peaked. So I guess this is a more scattered point. I'm hoping Warzone 2 gives me back some of those memories that I had with the original Warzone. And I'm hoping that, I don't know, the gameplay is just fun. Because if the gameplay is fun, you're going to get people playing Search and Destroy. You're going to have people playing Deathmatch, Capture the Objective Point, whatever that you want to call it. It seems to be going along that route. But again, keep in mind, as I mentioned with Overwatch 2, if you play that Warzone, you're going to get a lot of like the expensive gun camos. You're going to get a crazy battle pass that'll be pretty much your job to play if you want to unlock everything. Just be prepared for it. That's all I really have to say. I'm just hoping that Vanguard weapons get nerfed into the ground and I can actually finally play with like a Kilo or something, because the Kilo was so freaking fun. But yeah, that's what I want to say about it. So there you have it. There's our anticipated releases for the month of October. If there's any games that you want to talk about, please tell me in the comment section below. But if not, yeah, I hope you guys all have a great day, and I hope you guys have a great October. Have a good one.